Looking at line segments in a triangle. Remember, we have a triangle made up of these line segments. We'll call this one AB. When we're looking at a median, what is a median? Well, a median is going to run from the vertex of an angle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So, for example, if I have a triangle and I'm looking at this vertex, I'm actually going to expand this out just a little bit so you can see it a little clearer. And I take from my vertex and I go to the midpoint of the opposite side. This line right here is called a median. Notice each vertex has its own median. So I find the midpoint vertex, and once again I can find the midpoint of the third side and go from the vertex opposite. Notice we got something going on right there, and we'll be looking at an exploration with that in class. We have an angle bisector, and it's a segment that bisects the angle. So it's just going to be a segment that bisects an angle. So if I have some triangle and I bisect this angle, these two would be the same measure. We don't care about the side opposite where it hits on that side. We're just worried about bisecting that angle. We have a perpendicular bisector. If you remember, the word perpendicular means it's going to hit something at a 90 degree. So perpendicular goes to the midpoint of a side and is perpendicular. So it goes to the midpoint of a side and is perpendicular. So midpoint of a side and perpendicular. So what does that look like? Well, there's my triangle. So here's my midpoint. So to be perpendicular, it must head straight up, and it's going to go through that side and be perpendicular to it. So I think each side then should have one perpendicular and such. So you'd have three of those. And again, we'll be talking about the significance of those coming from every side. An altitude. An altitude of triangle some people call the height. And an altitude is a perpendicular line segment from the vertex to the opposite side. So let's take a look at that. If I have a triangle and I go from the vertex perpendicular, I drop this down, that would be what we call the altitude. Some people actually call it the height, but we'll refer to it as the altitude. These points of concurrency, we'll be looking at these in an exploration. You'll actually be discovering and finding out what they mean and how to draw them. And those all come from a triangle. So in a triangle, we have a centroid, a circumcenter, an incenter, and an orthocenter. We'll again define those in class and actually construct them.